If you want, you don't have to, but I'm just telling you that if you want to go ahead and get into the article summary research paper presentation kind of preparation work, in preparation for session 6, there's an article summary, and so it tells you here a little bit about how to go about the article summary and gives you a little bit about the final research paper. Basically, we're going to look at a call for presentations. If you want to find another conference for which to submit a presentation, that's fine too. You don't actually have to submit this presentation in the end. This is where your research paper is being guided. So you have 2 article summaries that feed into your research paper. 2 article summaries that feed into your research paper. That's how you read the article summaries and research paper in this course. So here we have a call for presentations, and there's also a call for virtual presentations. So we may in the least try to apply for that if you want to actually do the actual call, and if you have money to go travel to the conference, that's great. But otherwise, the virtual presentation saves money, and these are common. You'll see virtual presentations in many organizations anymore. So part of the reason of me doing this is so you can see what a professional organization such as SITE, Society for Information Technology and Teacher Education, looks like. There's other conferences out there as well, and a lot of them are going into virtual presentations, so it's good to have some experience with this. And it's possible, if you do a good paper, to have a paper published in the Digital Library Proceedings. And so they have proposal requirements. By October 25th, you're going to submit your paper proposal, and the requirements are below. And by January 1st, you get to finalize that proposal and submit the full paper or presentation, whatever goes with it. So you'll see that the choices they give you are basically brief paper or showcase, because corporate showcase is for somebody coming to sell a product. There's submission guidance forms here. Let me show you quick about the virtual brief paper, just so you get an idea of what the paper in this course will consist of too. Notice that it says it's at least 4 pages, properly formatted as per guidelines. You click on that, it gives you the guidelines right there. Maximum 6 pages. Abstract is not sufficient to be evaluated as a brief paper. And the proceeding lengths, that's what actually gets published, will be no more than 6 pages. So you submit 4 pages if it's really accepted, and you want to go ahead and send it off to the conference. Then you would have another due date where you have to add a couple more pages to it. It tells you here, virtual brief paper session enables researchers, developers, and practitioners to present and asynchronously discuss via the conference website and the online discussion board their latest results and developments in progress. And so you're working even on your Lives in Context project, you could call that a development in progress in order to gain feedback and to establish contact with similar projects. So they're more condensed presentations, or they are work in progress projects, which is basically what you're doing. These sessions also may be new extensions to existing projects. And one of you might be doing that, but most teams are doing a work in project process. And newly initiated projects and or projects underway that include opportunities for additional partners. And so what we're doing fits into a lot of these categories right here. Your virtual paper proposal must include description of the plan, brief paper, emphasizes the problem, what was done, why the work is important. And again, it's only 4 pages. And again, those guidelines, you click right up there, and it takes you to the guidelines page. And notice they get right down to margins must be 1 inch and so on. So they tell you exactly what the guidelines must be. So when you ask me, how am I supposed to write my paper, and I'll say come back in to the site place and look for the structure. Gives you how to do the title, how to do the abstract, lit references, and so on. And so there's a lot of guidance there in how to write that 4-page paper. And so that's what you're submitting for the course, is that 4-page paper, maximum of 6, so it's 4 to 6 pages. And that's what I'm encouraging you to submit to a conference, but I'm giving you the real-life application of that's what you'll submit for this course. Virtual showcase is 2 to 6 pages. And virtual showcase enable researchers, developers, and practitioners to present and asynchronously discuss their latest developments in progress. And the poster proposals must include the description of the plan showcase, should emphasize the problem, what was done, why the work is important. In order to do a poster proposal like this, you may be thinking, oh, 2 pages, I'd rather do that. Well, those 2 pages, though, always have links to something else. The poster sessions at the actual conference are always a computer sitting on a tabletop, and people come by and talk to you about what you are actually doing. So in that case, you would have to have your website or whatever you're producing out of this Lives in Context project, you'd have to have that up and running to show people. So that could be possible. It could be possible that by the time the papers due, you could have your website in progress. It can be in progress, but it has to be enough there to really get the idea across of what your whole project and purpose is all about. So those are the two different types of proposals. One that shows more about the actual work of what you're doing. That would be the showcase. The brief paper is more about maybe some lit review support behind what you're doing. Okay, so that would be that research paper. I'm giving that to you now just in case you want to look ahead and start thinking about that. You don't really have to do anything with it right now, but you might go into that site, call for presentation. You might want to go look into topics. Sometimes people say, well, what am I supposed to do? Well, you look at your project and what you're doing. You can always include Web 2.0 items. You look for the topics right here in presentation types. So mostly the topics have the scope and sequence, showing you who you're presenting to. So it's also graduate teacher education. There's a lot of professors there. Topics, new topics for K-12 leaders give you ideas here. Here's teacher ed topics, and here's information technology, like educational technology professors. This is what they'll talk about, or designers or trainers. And so you can look through some of those topics, click on them, get a better idea of what they mean by that. Mobile learning would be a good topic that would combine with this class. Research and evaluation, if you're further along in your work and you want to do some more, your coursework, you want to do some research with it. Information technology diffusion would be another good place. Graduate education and faculty development could be a good topic for you. Distance and flexible education. If you get into the digital storytelling element of it, you could do that as well. So quite a few topics that you could choose to submit your paper under, because you would have to select a topic in order to submit the paper. So that's basically all that I'm asking you to look at now, is maybe look at those list of topics and think, where could I put my paper if I want? Or look around the call for presentations. Would I rather do a poster session or a paper? What do I think I'm going to do? And realize it's only 4 to 6 pages. So that gives you an overview of what's going on this week, pretty detailed overview. And the way, I never quite know how Blackboard's going to throw up the presentation in front of you. This week I'm getting folders, which I much more prefer. Other than the table of contents, which you've seen in the last week or two, I float with whatever it gives me. I do not seem to have control, unless it's a little radio button that's hidden from me and I can't see it. I do not seem to have control over whether you see folders or the table of contents. So we're floating with both screen designs right now because that's what they give us. So you look under Planning for Project-Based Learning, Session 4, and you see the first part. This is your main emphasis, project planning and guides. You come up with that template, post it to the discussion thread, and then review other people's by the end of the session. Discussion thread post is due mid-session, Monday night, Tuesday by noon, and the review to other people's discussion threads is due by end session, which would be by Thursday night. Okay, if you have any questions, you can email me, Blackboard message me, or try to catch me on Skype sometime, or email to have a Skype conference request, and I'll be glad to do that. Otherwise, happy planning.